We have a fun 168-pound matchup coming up Saturday as Edgar Berlanga takes on Hamzah Sheeraz in his hometown of New York City. This fight happening a part of the Ring 3 card, as this matchup actually has a lot of implications on who could potentially fight Canelo next. I'm not just saying this because, hey, maybe at 68, they get a chance at the champion. No. Turki Al-Sheikh called into the press conference back in May and said the winner would get a chance to fight Canelo. Obviously, Berlanga already fought him. It would be a rematch. I'm not sure many people would be too happy with that, but for Shiraz, who's moving up to 168 now, would be an opportunity for him to go against the king at 168 in Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, Canelo is signed on to Turkey in Riyadh season for 4 fights. The Crawford fight will be his second, so 2 more. Shiraz might indeed be the next opponent. But for this fight in particular, this one's going to be a good one because when I look at this fight, I see a fight in which I could see Shiraz winning handedly. But for some reason, I don't know what about it, but for some reason, I could see Edgar Berlanga landing a punch and flooring and knocking out Shiraz. I don't know what it is, but I just think maybe Berlanga can pull that out. We'll see, but let's preview this fight in its totality here on the Never Drop podcast. Make sure you like the video, comment who you think will win, and subscribe to the channel. As to the fight, Berlanga quickly 23-1. Obviously, the one loss was to Canelo Alvarez. 18 knockouts, 28 years old, 6'1", 73-inch. He last fought Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz in a fight that, well, it was a first-round knockout against Gonzalez Ortiz and was an absolute joke of a fight. Ortiz was not ready to fight, no condition to fight. It really didn't show anything about Berlanga after his loss to Canelo. Only going 1 round with a guy who I believe had been to jail previously before this fight. Like, just the whole circumstances was, let's get Berlanga back in the ring. Well, he goes up against somebody that easily he knocks out in a round, and we don't know exactly what Berlanga learned from that Canelo loss. So this is going to be his real first test since that Canelo fight. As Hamzah Sheeraz, 21-0-1 with 17 knockouts. He's 2 years younger than Berlanga, 26 years old, 6'3", so 2 inches taller, and also a 2-inch advantage in the reach department with a 75-inch reach. Shiraz had an interesting last fight himself. That was a split decision draw versus Carlos Adames, a fight that honestly, Shiraz was even lucky to get a draw in. Many people think Adames won that fight. As we're not seeing a rematch because Shiraz blamed the weight cut. It's coming up to 68 now. That fight was at 60. That was a fight that kind of brought Shiraz back, down a little bit. Everyone and hyping him up hugely. It's like, oh, okay. And credit to Carlos Adames fighting a great fight that night. Shiraz, hey, he has a great jab. He worked the jab throughout the night, but wasn't making adjustments like Adames was in that fight. And one thing I think the biggest adjustment he didn't make was he wasn't getting aggressive. He just wouldn't push his foot on the gas pedal and get going. At points, it was clear Adames was really having his way in there and, doing things that Shiraz was not supposed to allow him to do. And Shiraz wasn't coming back offensively with the firepower I wanted to see, and a lot of people also wanted to see him have. It was also an interesting fight because this was the fight, if you remember, where Turki Al-Sheikh walked off, then came back and told Shiraz in the corner, you're down 2 rounds. Many people are saying, was he messing with the scorecards? Did he look at the scorecards, which nobody's supposed to during the fight? Did he look at the unofficial scorecard? Something that people found fishy, obviously. No evidence was found that anything, wrong happened in that case. But it's something to note in this fight because Shiraz is a Turkey and Ring season, Riyadh season ambassador. So you'd have to think this is a guy Turkey does not want to see lose. This is a guy that he would rather see get the Canelo fight at 68 than a Berlanga rematch. So if you're Berlanga, you're going into this fight thinking, I got to knock this dude out. Like, he's going to have Turkey on his side. Berlanga thinking this. He might have the judges on his side as well, scoring the fight. I got to find a way to land a punch and knock him out. That's, honestly, what Berlanga's got to be thinking. It's going to be an interesting fight because I do think Shiraz is going to respect his power, Berlanga's power, and he's going to start a little, slow. You're going to work the jab, kind of how we say download the dad in the first few rounds. I think he's going to see whether or not Berlanga is going to take it to him, try and be aggressive, or Berlanga is going to wait back and want Shiraz to be aggressive and then counter and capitalize on something. I think Shiraz is going to try and box to start, and then as he gets his groove going, he might get more aggressive. He needs to get more aggressive. I want to see him get more aggressive in this fight. If there's anything that comes across here in this video is Shiraz, I want to see get more aggressive, but that could play in perfectly for Berlanga. Is he going to sit there and say, hey, he knows what he did the last fight, not be aggressive, not push the gas pedal. He's going to try that in this fight, and I'm going to be there to land a good shot. You're Berlanga. You're thinking, let him come to me, and I will show him the power. Because that is something that, while Berlanga might not have the skills and the fundamentals of some of these top tier guys, there's no doubt about it. He has power. I'm not talking about just the Ortiz fight. He has power. He can crack. And I think if he lands a shot on Shiraz, I think he could do damage. I personally do. I think Berlanga has power at 168. He's shown it throughout his career. And, the first round KO streak he had and everything, yes, those were against guys that not great. But I think even against Canelo, he landed some good shots. Nothing that hurt Canelo per se, but he landed some good shots against Canelo. And Canelo has an iron chin, right? So I think if Berlanga lands a shot, I want to see him try and go to the body, break down Shiraz, the tall 6'3" fighter, break him down. That's how you do it. Go to the body, and then shots to the head will open up. Additionally, I think, if Shiraz goes to the body or Berlanga, I think you can make Berlanga undisciplined in there. You start teeing off on him, I think Berlanga is going to lose track of the game plan, and he's going to be like, all right, let's go into a war. That's where you have to be careful, but you also can take advantage of your Shiraz. He's throwing wild, let me just step out the way, and then I can counter. Or for Shiraz, he can box. I talked about I want to see him be more aggressive. If he decides he doesn't want to be aggressive, he can win this fight by boxing, just jabbing, moving, nice 1-2s, a few combinations. He can easily win this fight from keeping Berlanga at a distance. Personally, though, I want to see a little more excitement. First fight here in the U.S. for Shiraz on this Ring 3 card. I want to see him make a little bit of a statement against Berlanga. Props to Edgar. He has stayed in the limelight even after a pretty, dominant loss to Canelo Alvarez. There's no doubt about it. Canelo won that fight, but he stayed in the limelight, whether that was throwing a parade for losing around the city, his trash talk. He has stayed a name at 168. A guy who we've wanted to see fight Caleb Plant before Plant took a loss. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Drew Charlo, Jaime Munguia, but obviously Munguia going through his thing with PEDs and steroids. Berlanga's stayed a name, and he's gotten this fight here for Ring 3 and against Shiraz. He wins this fight. We're going to hear a lot more about him wanting to rematch Canelo. We already hear about it plenty. We would hear about it a lot more. So what am I thinking in this fight? I told you at the start, I really think Shiraz can easily win this fight by decision. I truly do. But for some reason, I feel like just like boxing chaos can ensue and Berlanga can land a shot. It's just something, and I could be completely wrong about that. And he looks like he shouldn't even be in the ring with Shiraz, right? But a part of me thinks Berlanga might, maybe it's like a left hook or a right hand, something. And he gets Shiraz. Personally, I don't even know if it'll be early in the fight or later in the fight. A part of me just thinks Berlanga might be able to do it. I don't feel like Berlanga's star is supposed to die out just yet. I feel like he's going to be one of these guys in boxing, for lack of a better word, a pest to the fans. They're going to be saying, you fought, the top guy in Canelo, didn't look good at all, but you're still staying around the sport, whether it be, because of your trash talk or because you get a win like this against Shiraz and you just stay around. So I'm going to go with just a gut prediction. And this can be completely wrong. I wouldn't tell you to put any money on it or anything. This is just something I'm feeling. And I might, come back and have to eat my words and be like, I was completely wrong. Because again, I can see Shiraz clearly outboxing Berlanga. Maybe even dropping him, if he gets crazy aggressive. I don't necessarily see that happy. But I might say Berlanga somehow finds a way to get a stoppage in this fight. Shiraz might pull out, you know, from fighting on the inside and go straight back, and Berlanga catches him with a jumping hook or something like that. And he hurts him, and then he finishes the job, maybe an early stoppage, the ref jumps in, something like that, but he gets a stoppage. I don't know. Just something in me is telling me I feel like Berlanga might get a stoppage. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. I think this will be a fun fight at 68. Ring 3 in New York City, and that's another thing for Berlanga. He's fighting in the hometown. He's going to want to put on a show, so we will see. It's going to be a fun fight. Let me know in the comments below who you have, Berlanga or Shiraz. Hey, I could be completely right. I could be completely wrong with this prediction. Just a gut feeling. I'm just going with the gut right here on this one. Let me know in the comments who you have and how you have them winning. This has been the Never Drop Podcast. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you like, comment below, and subscribe to this podcast. That's all I got for you today. Ring 3 Saturday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.